Morning, everyone. We're going to get started here. Just waiting for people to get in. Sometimes it takes a little time for people to get in. So let me shut this thing off. There we go. We're going to be taking a look at some pairs this morning, just kind of breaking it down. What I do is I trade New York session. I don't trade, say, London. That's my sleeping time. Got to get my beauty rest. Sometimes I'm in Asian session. I got it last night as well. I got taken out as I set my stop losses, but this morning got back in when I woke up. So let's start looking at the big picture kind of the three pairs I'm going to look at today are going to be looking at gold, silver, and oil because they tend to move during New York session. And so we're going to look at all of those this morning. So what I have here, even though you see these layers, what I have here is an inside bar that's marked up with Fibonacci's all the way with the full Fibonacci's. I have a prophetic candle here as well. And then I have another basically engulfed candle down here. And so as you can see, we've had this breakout and there's a couple options I see going on with gold. There could be a retest into this zone, 1766, that area, because we have this violation of that engulfed candle that happened over here. Let me get my picture out of the way. So we have that going on with it. I don't see it coming back up here. It spent a lot of time playing like this, as you can see, this whole thing. And for a long time, I knew it was going to short. When you look at this pattern, basically you're seeing a bearish pennant right here. And I had it marked up yesterday that way. And it didn't quite go all the way to the end, but it broke out finally last night during London session, and it took a big dive. I ended up trying to short it from up here. This wick took me out in the middle of the night, and then it dropped down. So I had set mine, this wick took me out actually. I had mine set at 79 as a stop loss. It took me out. I wish I would have set a little bit deeper, but I was playing it safe. Or because I would have got all of that and then the stack that I would have put in this morning when I woke up and saw it. But this is what I see for this. I like to see the reaction here. Notice it's bouncing on this AQZ zone right here. I like to see the close below to keep it going down farther, and we might get that coming in around the 7 o'clock time frame. The dollar's really bullish right now, so that you could see this pushing on that. I didn't get to see this. And if you look at this one, this is kind of mirrors that one, but in a smaller zone. I'm going to do the extended fibs on this one. It gets ugly because I have this layered. But if you look right here, this is in the exact same spot that this one is, and it's bouncing. They're both bouncing in the same area. So that's just kind of a sort of a look at what I'm seeing right now with gold. I'm trying to get my fibs here, so I have to clean it up a little bit. So this is just on the 4 hour, just looking at the 4 hour, the engulfings and everything else. But like I've taught for many, many weeks, and that's how I trade, and it's a good way. Let me see if I can get back out of here. We want to come in and start doing kind of a top down, and I've done this the last few weeks. The potential for gold, since we don't have the monthly close yet, that happens, I would think, one day. So we got about 1 day to 8 hours. So tomorrow, if we get this close below, you could see the retest into this zone, or you could see the push on down. The likelihood you're going to see some type of retest into this area, but that's just the time frame where we're looking at. So this top down, it's looking bearish on the monthly. And let's see, go to the weekly. Similar thing you're seeing with the weekly. We have this close below this bottom of the block, so you got this retest. They could come back up to 1812, but that never happened. And so what's our next target? 1723, 1710. Can we see a big push today down? You know, gold hasn't made a huge 400, 500 pip move in a while. Could this be the beginning of that 400, 500 pip move from last night? And their gold's been known to do that. So could we see the 1710 mark? There's this here. If we mark this up, it's probably getting into that zone. So let me show you this inside bar kind of, or engulfed candle. Just doing a top-down look at this. And so you can see it pushing in here. So could we see 1723, 1710, this zone, which is this AQZ zone, right? We had the breakout, no retest. Could it come back down here, bounce, come back up to do a retest? It's all possible. You got to respect the zones. If you're not respecting the AQZ zones, you're doing some damage to yourself in that way. So this could be a target where it bounces based on this engulfing that's right here. Here's the breakout, no retest, come back down into that zone. That's on the weekly. So let's take a look at the daily. So this looks like a huge head and shoulders. Look at this, left shoulder, right shoulder. Are we waiting for it to crap all the way down to 1691? Got to get past here, but you can see this right shoulder, left shoulder type setup. The thing I like about what we see here is if this holds, we could see this next target. This is basically a daily prophetic candle over here. The daily PC over here. If we get a close below that on the daily, then we could see it even going down to a lower level, possibly down to this engulfing that we got here. But this is what we're seeing. Could this be a head and shoulders that's forming and just we're waiting for this, for them to pull the plug? The structurally, it's about to break structure on the daily if we get the close below. But could this just take off and head on down? I'm looking at it as a bearishness on this in that capacity. So, and then this is where I'm looking at with gold on where I do my entries on the lower time frame using break the bank. There's a number of videos in in our AQZ FX group. I did one last week on break the bank. You guys might want to look at those to understand it. Basically, this is a previous old one that I just have left here because if this goes any deeper, I'm going to shoot this one off because the fibs will reach farther. But right now, I'm going off a current violated reversal right here. And you take it, when you do it from this, it's you drag your fibs from the low to the next bull candle up, and you draw your fibs that way. And right now, we didn't get to close. So let's do a little thing that I did. I saw this move this morning. I saw this push up. I entered here. I entered here because both Cheeto and Pinky are zones. Notice I respected these zones. So I entered here. Just as it was tapping Cheeto, I just fired one off, market executed it. And I had another one set at this zone as well. Let me double check to make sure my numbers are right. No, oh, okay. What I did is I entered here, came back up, went into this zone. I fired off one here. I had a stop or a sell limit up here, but it didn't go all the way into Pinky. It just kind of respected and took back off. So I took all of this right down here, almost 200 pips drop on this one. Could this be the beginning of this huge, maybe 400 or 500 pip move this morning? Don't know. Remember the 4 hour, we didn't get a close above the AQZ zone on the 4 hour. We're bouncing here. My next play, when I stack using these, is will be pretty obvious once I mark this up for you guys. My next play is right here. Sorry, let's try to get this. You get the close below. We got the close below. I take the retest. I play the ladder rungs down. This is kind of what I call the golden ladder. You got the AQZ zone, take the ladder down, take another ladder down, take another ladder step down, and you just play it that way. So this claws back and comes up to this region. This is my next stack zone. Remember, I'm up here, right? And so that's what I'm looking at. I've been a little bit more liberal on the proper risk management. I'm gonna have to do a beginner's lesson on risk management. I've been talking with Bishop about it, Maybe we can get it put together by next Monday and do a beginner's lesson on risk management. So on these entries I take here, I'm not over leveraging my account. If you have like a $500 account, 0.05 is probably as high as you want to go. My recommendation is to do something less, 0.02, 0.03 when you do these things. And that way you can take partials, but you're not over leveraging that account. Yeah, you can max your leverage, try to get some big cash quick, but you get burned when you do that. So when I'm doing this entry, I'm not putting a lot size that's going to over maximize my account. Even with this run here, I keep it in perspective. I'm also playing with a new concept right now that when you get to close above here, that I may consider to close those entries if they hit here. And I'm looking at, not all the time, I might wait the next 15-minute candle or the one more 15-minute candle, depending on how it's moving, because it might just continue back down and reverse back underneath. But that's just something I'm working with on structurally. How do I close up my bids instead of having a lot of drawdown to wait for it to come back? So perhaps it might want to come back and touch here. As you can see, 59 to 67, that's about 100 pips right here, this zone right here. So do I want to take 100 pips of drawdown, or do I want to say, okay, maybe under this middle line here, that if I don't get to close back below this after this entry, if it closed above, I might want to wait, take that minimal scratch, wait for the close back under here and retake the test again and take it down, as opposed to with taking all that drawdown to here. So then if I close out and it comes all the way up here, then I can enter here and then take it back down and then get the close down and get it that way. So those are some things I'm playing with the AQZ zones. When to kind of say, oh, you know what? I don't keep a hard, fast, sometimes stop loss when I'm trading, but I'm actively trading. But this is something I'm looking at when I'm looking at these AQZ zones. You can't really do that on the 4-hour or higher time frames because that's a lot of pips between a 4-hour. And so that's what I'm seeing at. So my next play would be here if I can get it to come up that high. It may not. It may close back down here. Kind of looks like it's forming a bearish pennant right here. If you don't understand pattern trading, you might want to look at that. You can Google it out on the net. It'll give you all sorts of ways to look at pattern trading. But this looks like it's going to form a bearish pennant and then drop down to a lower zone. And that's because when you have it entered in and it comes up, it'll ping pong like this little triangle right here. It'll ping pong in this zone. Let me just show you real quick. So that's a pennant, like a flag, kind of like a team pennant or whatever. So what it will do, if it holds to the pattern, it will ping pong between this and finally get down to this zone and then it will drop. That's a bearish pennant. On the upside, if we had it go the other way, you would see this bearish pennant off of this move here. If they did it, this broke out. So if this was you'd see the same thing on the upside. It would ping pong and then shoot up. So this is what I'm seeing as a bearish pennant that this could be forming. I'm waiting for a little deeper pullback before I add another one in. I could have done the midline, but I'm not always confident the midline would hold, and that's why I don't do it. I always wait for the retest to the sun, unless, of course, I see that it's moving. And a lot that happens between this time frame. I'm on the Pacific Coast, so between 6 and 7. If you're on New York time, we're looking at what 9 and 10, right? After that, I can't do all the math. Figure out where you're at. This current hour, wherever you are, there's a lot of gamemanship. And we could get a New York reversal. Notice that this zone it's bouncing on, this is that AQZ zone on the 4-hour, a little bit bigger area, but it's bouncing here. We could get the move up, but I'm confident, I'm more confident that it's going to keep going down. And then the other thing that I always pay attention to while I'm doing this on the lower time frame, I also pay attention to Dixie. If you're not paying attention to Dixie, and that's what I got going on here, you're doing yourself a disservice because these are counter-correlated with each other. So this push up with Dixie is what's made this push down with gold. It's probably going to come back down here to retest this zone. If I start seeing some type of reversal pattern that's happening, then I'm going to pay attention to that. But for right now, this is still a bullish run that it has. And I'm looking for this retest to this AQZ zone preferred based on a BTB short that is way to the left. And you want to keep things previous settings or previous BTBs or previous AQZ zones, previous prophetic candles. You want to keep those in perspective and keep those on your charts. As you can see on the left side here, I have a lot of them down below. These are previous zones, and I even have them up above. As you can see, these are previous zones that they had not revisited yet. And so you keep those there because these are targets. When it starts moving the other direction and getting to that zone, you go, okay, where's the likely point of resistance to pay attention to? Where could it go? And these kind of coincide, these zones coincide with the 4-hour candles that I was showing you, or the weekly areas, these areas where they could revisit 1712, 1726. Those are the same areas. So I always keep these there. Doesn't hurt your chart. You just have to clean it up, you know, when you're doing it. But this is what I'm seeing for this. This could be forming a bullish pennant right here. We'll see how this plays out. So you can see this type of push up could be the bearish pennant. I still see this as a target and possibly to TP1, which would be up here. So, all right. Any questions so far, guys? If you guys have questions, feel free to ask. That's what this is all about. This is not, you know, lecture time, Professor Hawkins in the hall. You guys are able to ask. So let's take a look. This is the 4-hour. Notice that it's bouncing down in this zone right here, the same zone that we're talking about. If we get to close below at the 10 o'clock, we could see this lower zone down here, which is a previous prophetic candle zone, but we'll see how that plays out. So let's do something here. Let's take a look at silver. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing I just did with gold with silver. So if you're taking notes, take notes, because this is going to help you if you're trying to figure this stuff out. So here's our prophetic candle. We've had the close below right here. Retest, retest, break on down. So this would have been the play on the 4-hour, but you would have entered on the 15. So let's take a look at a top-down AQZ on silver. I haven't done this one because I haven't traded silver in a while, but they move together. Silver and gold move together. If you know anything about the pairs, silver usually leads and gold follows. It's just kind of a pattern I see that has developed over time of watching these pairs. And so, as you can see, I haven't done this in a while. I got old stuff, so I'm going to remove some drawings. So let's take a look here. We have an engulfing right here. It looks like it's tapping preferred right here. So could this be an opportunity for go higher, or are we going to get a violation? This is on the monthly, keep in mind. So we've had the close below. After today, if this stays down, the next logical move would be to the downside, because that's what's there. And we're going to get this close today on the monthly. And so this will give us price action looking to go possibly lower down into this zone. So keep this is just the monthly, looking at the monthly in a time frame that we have for the monthly. Okay, so let's take a look at the weekly. So let me get rid of some of the stuff and move those drawings. All right, let's see. Like the strength of this one to the left. Breakdown, violation, no, finally a violation, but we have this violation that happened on the weekly last week. So could we see, and so, you know, the reason why I picked this other zone to farther to the left is these tend to be slightly smaller. Okay, so here's, I didn't want to try to use this engulf. That wasn't much of a breakout. This one I could have maybe, possibly this one, but it didn't really work. This one really showed the structure to me. That's why I picked this one, because it came up, broke down below, finally get a break above, and then we have highlight. So it's respecting this zone a lot, if you noticed. Look at it bounce on preferred. And so that's what I was seeing on this one. So that's why I kind of look farther to the left. And it's a larger candle. I like that for one. I could try to work on something like this one, but as you can see, you know, this breakout down below, here's the violation retest. It's respecting that zone. You could see it right there, respecting it. So could this be an area to pay attention to? Most definitely. Sometimes you find these zones within zones. Could you see how it's respecting this zone right here? So could this see, maybe this is where, you know, this retest could come to here again and then keep playing. It could be playing in this zone on the weekly. We don't have a break to the downside on this stuff at all, but this is just straight engulfed candles right here and here. So if you're looking at how to structure it, this is one way to look at it. All right, so we're on the weekly. Let's look at the daily. Oh, we have a daily candle here, daily candle there. What do I got to the left? Look at this structure. That's why I like that candle. That's why I picked it on silver. A respected preferred. So respect, touch, breakout, retest, come down. So for me, I'd like to see at the end of this week, if we could get it, some type of close below there. It might just bounce on this zone, as you can see that it's respected. So we could get that bounce down below, but we'll see. Maybe after today we have this that it would be below this area, and then we could see how this week would close out. So tentatively, because of price action, it's still, we're looking at a target, and it's almost reached that target of here. Still, this is a lot of room. If you go to the lower time frame, that's a lot of pippage. 25, we're sitting at what, 26, right? That's how silver moves a lot. One thing about silver, it does use a lot of margin, so you better be using smaller lot sizes. Don't use it like you would use lot sizes on your typical setting. We could see this candle right here, this daily candle. If we get a close below this, we can mark that up and use that as a means. We have a daily candle here. It looks like we'd like to see how this one plays out. These are all just ways of showing indications of how you might play this one. If you get to close on a daily up here, take the retest, take it back down to a lower zone based on that. We have one right here. Here's another daily. Is it playing on that zone? I think it's a little bit high, but you can see this is another target zone. So you want to pay attention to these as you're looking at these previous setups. There's one down lower right here. So it looks like we could see this type of setup. Are we getting this right? Left and right shoulders here. There's a wonky monster head. Put some googly eyes in it and a face. Can we see this drop? Could this be the push down? So there's the daily on that. So then let's go look at it on the break the bank, and I have that marked up. So let's take a look at that. All right, so what I have here is this one that I marked up a while that I'm running. Now I could play all these. These are tinier zones, so I didn't play it, but this is a solid zone. Low to the next bull candle up. The indicator gives us the lines. You have the breakout right here. Here's the violation right here. Here's the retest. That would have been a perfect retest almost. You would have had a market execute it. You probably wouldn't have been picked up on your things. But that's what we're looking at on this one for us to get picked up on. And could it go up as high as retest into that zone? Bottom of the block, 25.79. There it is, just touch that. So we're going back to preferred, 25.900. I have one set right here at 25.900, looking for that retest. into that zone. It looks like I might get it if it comes up there. Let's see. We'll hang out here and see what happens. I actually set a sell limit right here. That's why my alert's there. But I picked this zone because it's there and it's been playing it. It's been respecting it, kind of holding. The other thing about break the bank, they like going to TP1, stop hunt 1, or stop hunt 1.5. So this could be a reversal. Could we get a New York reversal this morning? We'll see. But you can see it went to TP1 and then it played games there and it came back down to revisit, and then it violated and it went all the way down to TP1 or stop hunt 1.5 right here. This is the half mark, half line. And it was confusing when you have this one down here. It's the previous level. Notice it bounced on that previous level. That's why I marked these up. So this is something I would pay attention to see how this plays out. But that's what I'm looking at on this entry. So I have this one that I've had all to the left. I don't like these zones, even though they're giving me indications of reversals or continuation buys, but they're very tiny zones. And so I tend to stay away from the tiny zones. I look for more stronger structure that it would respect. And you can see how it does that here, 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 and break out. It even did it right there with this close below on that candle. So we're waiting to see how this one plays out for us, but that's what I'm seeing on silver, kind of a top-down structure for you. So, all right, so let's go over and take a look at oil. Here's the 4-hour on oil. And we don't have a candle this week. I'm looking at this zone right here. This could be the retest zone for a short on oil, or could this be the beginnings of a violation? But until we get that violation, that's what I'm seeing on oil on the 4-hour, right? We had this breakout, came up, violated, came back, reviolated, touching. I have a tendency to think that it's going to go long because the dollar's long and oil and the dollar tend to move together. Just something I've learned over the times I follow. When it's oil strong, it's usually strong on the US dollar as well. So we could see this violation happening for us. But let's take a look at the monthly on oil. Let's clean this up. Let's see, what is this here? Why do I have this here? I was looking at this earlier. So we have this monthly after today. This is going to say it's bullish. So we have to see how this plays out, but this could be the move that it's going to be doing. That's why when I was looking at this 4-hour, that I'm probably anticipating, because of the dollar being strong right now and pushing up, that oil is going to do the same. This is going to be a violation in this area, but we'll keep looking at it. So you got this one, the monthly, this just kind of a classic look to me that it's pushing strong. This is kind of a bullish pennant. It broke out. Can we get the retest back up? So maybe this is the zone after the monthly closes that this we would retest to. Let's take a look at the weekly. All right, so this is a weekly one that I had marked up a while ago. I'm just going to close this one out here real quick. So we have it pushing into that zone right here. So if I was going to play it, I'd probably come back and take the retest to the lower zone here, to the bottom of the block, that type of thing. But I don't enter on these time frames. I enter on the break to bank, and so you can see that there's a lot of movement here to get to that area. So let's keep going. Let's go look at the daily. So we have a daily candle here. We also have this zone up above. This is a long time ago. I marked this one up right here off of a daily prophetic candle. Got it right here. So it's coming to that zone right up here. But now we also have a candle, a daily candle that's right here that it looks like it's getting ready to violate. So that kind of goes with that bullish theme. We get the close above here at the end of the day. We see it coming up to that other zone above, like I've been saying. So there's the daily. So if I was going to be looking at entering in on oil, I'm leaning towards a bullish sense. Here's US oil here. As you can see, we have the breakout. So you notice I drew it from the low to the next one up. These lines on the break the bank indicator are strong and solid. So the next 15 minutes, we get this, looks like we're gonna get it. We're gonna get this close above. So then you could take a retest in this to go to the next zone. Play the ladder up. And with oil, maybe if you get a close back below, maybe you take that scratch before you get to midline and wait for this deeper pull and wait for the close back above again. That's kind of a thing I've been playing with, how to play these 15-minute areas. I don't really trade on a lower time frame than that because it's just too crazy. It's not even worth it. There's no consistent structure to it. I mean, there is structure, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's no, the consistency, it fluctuates back and forth. I know some people like doing that. I don't. It's just too crazy. You have to actively do that. Seriously, it's a lot of work, and it doesn't make sense trying to do that. You really hurt yourself, I think, doing on a lower time frame. So this is the lowest time frame I go to is on the 15-minute. And so if this next 3 minutes we get that close above, if you like oil, you could take the retest up, you know, and then keep your, if you want to do a stop hunt, keep it under, maybe under the midline, because you see it respecting the midline right here. So that's kind of the sense of how I do this stuff. It's basically top down AQZ, enter on the break the bank strategy. And then as I do these things, I add entries with that. So, so we'll see how this one plays out. Maybe it's going to go a little deeper. I would love it to come up. Come grab me here and then drop. So we got another 15 minutes to see if this is going to be any type of reversal pattern, New York reversals. If you haven't heard it before, there is a thing called New York reversal that likes doing that. New York reversals is a real thing. You get that sometimes after this push down. They take it back the other way during New York time frame. Just like Asian retracement is another term that people talk about. So we'll see how this plays out with everything on these things. So if you guys don't have any questions, I'm gonna wrap it up. We'll get myself into some exercise and things like that. If you don't keep a balance when you're trading, it's good. It helps you with your brain and your mind. So that's what I'm getting ready to go do, exercise. So if you don't have any questions, I'm gonna wrap it up and let you guys know. I'll be on tomorrow where we will look at all these prophetic candles that we have on most of our pairs. So I'll be looking at those, and maybe there'll be some setups that you can play for the week based off of the prophetic candles and that's called Wraparound Wednesday that I do. So we'll be looking at all of those. So take a look at that. This is a retest here, so it notice it pulled back. So if you're looking at oil, pay attention to what you're doing on that. And so with all of that, wish you a great day. Thanks for hopping on, guys. Had a good group of you guys hopping in here. So with that, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow if you guys want to be on Wraparound Wednesday. You're welcome, Clayton. You guys have a good day.